Good morning, this is Mia. It is way too early to be up, but hey, it's way too early. It's 4:47. I feel like I've gained weight. I feel like my tongue is swollen, so I haven't weighed in yet. I had gone down finally to 175, eating raw food, 100% raw food diet. There's a lot of honey going in my diet through the week. I would say at least a tablespoon a day, probably in about 2 or 3 teas or lemonades. I'm doing some kind of raw food or low temperature tea. Some of this, that might be part of why I had a hibiscus tea. If I do the raw leaf or do some tea made out of something that I found off the ground, then I am more confident. And then if I say that it's raw, I would heat the water. Since I have a teapot now, I would heat the water and let it cool down. Before, I just used the stove and turned the water up to 4 and let it get like warm enough to still touch the teapot with the back of my hand without hurting myself, and then I would pour that, still wait for it to cool, and then add some honey, and then sip on that for a couple hours, or sometimes 1 cup. It would be like maybe more than 8 ounces in the coffee cup for like hours or a day. Sometimes I don't like doing 2 days, but sometimes I make the drink and it doesn't get finished till the next day. I believe that's part of the source of me weighing so much. I've been exercising. I did the hand weights yesterday, finally, and we have a semi-manual washer, so I had to run and go turn the water off, which is a pain in my butt. I need to get out and do my other exercise, my physical therapy, so I need to do this, even though I'm going in a couple hours. I have a client for a different business of mine that I don't have a lot of clients, and I I I got people talking about my my old webpage, and I was like, I made that in around 2012, or it was probably actually made in, so I forgot it was probably made in 2010, so like 12 or 13 years ago. That's a long time ago. Um, the Weebly website I have, it's really hard to use. Like, stuff doesn't work. It's like you move something here and do this, and it doesn't work. You can't read it, and I have to tweak it and try to do HTML, which I don't know anything about HTML, sorry. Wearing white. After Labor Day, I have the white camisole. I thought I just washed some of my white clothes. It looks like there's something light over there, I'm not sure. I had that tennis dress, I have some clothing here. So, I'm not really in the mood for the day. I need some time off. Like, I feel like I need from now till Christmas off. Because I'm just, well, because I have appointments with people before you only have like a week until New Year's. Something's telling me to, because I've not been feeling well, and it's not it's not good. There's too much uncertainty. If you take control of your own schedule, then there's still uncertainty in life, but then it's different if you're out of town and you do something and go on a vacation. I haven't ever gone on a vacation, like a legit, like, oh, I'm gonna R&R, you know. For years, I've had the goal of getting some solar-powered stuff going on. I've had the goal of being an off-grid. I've had the goal of being self-sustainable with growing my own food, insulating and preparing and or building the house so that you don't really need heating and cooling. Say you have sort of a berm or something, or a basement that's nicely insulated, so it's going to maintain that like 70 degrees year round. When it's too cold outside, your basement's good, and keep it pest free. When it's too hot outside, your basement's nice and cool, and you got it so it's not too wet and all that stuff. And you have your windows and your roof And the thingy that dangles over your window is going to be just the right level for the sun, and your windows to be facing your house, and your windows to be facing the direction so that you have less sun in the summer. Don't get me wrong, I like sun, but you don't want it hundreds of degrees to feel like you have to crank up this AC and then have these crappy windows and crappy holes all over your walls in the kitchen. Your heater is running all day because of that foul stuff. You got the pitch, I don't know if it's a pitch of the roof or the overhang where the winter sun comes in and warms your house nicely. You got away you're in a county where there's places that they try to say you can't collect your rainwater, you can't reuse your washer water to water your grass or your backyard garden, or you could be using, no soap, just running. You could be like doing the stains maybe in the sink that goes to the sewer, the city sewer, and rinsing it off and putting in the wash with some kind of soap nuts or whatever those things are called, which I actually want to get. Check your inventories. This is a straight up preparedness video. I heard it from my partner and the people I watch on YouTube, like the news. And what's interesting, I'm fussing. I'm a hypocrite because I'm saying how I don't like listening to news. I don't like that broadcast urgency of you better listen to me and I've got 10,000 things to say, and people are talking all over each other and cut to a commercial, and then you're in anticipation of a story that they advertise that they never tell you. All that crazy crap makes me anxious, and then I like to look at news and listen to people that are just sitting in their cars being like, this is in the news today, and then I will listen to my partner who says that same thing, and then I'm realizing that I'm upset at him, but I'm choosing to look on YouTube on my phone. And that's like if you go to school and you're forced to go to school, but then you decide as an adult, I want to go take this class, and you're like so happy, like you're entering an institution, both instances where you're sitting down and you have a place and you have a name and somebody's working with you to build your brain so that you can get to a place when you're an adult that you have a joy to go to school and be able to read and write and understand how to follow directions. So it's interesting how we feel like we need some control. I feel like personally that I need control as a group of human beings in different stages. And it's like every stage could be hundreds of years, I'd say 1,000 years. But in my mind, I feel like every single year and every single day is a transition. So it's just a huge gradient, like a rainbow. If it's black and white, it's just like the speckles are very light on this end and very dark on this end, and then it gradually fills in with more speckles till it's solid. I feel like every day. Hello? I feel like every day is. Hello? Anyways, get prepared. Stay prepared. You don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. North Carolina is missing a lot of power. It's chilly. I'm going to check this. Pause me. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. In my opinion. If your temperature in your house is not heated and not cooled, that would be excellent. Like if you're in North Carolina where they messed up the substation, these people, are you able to deal with what's in your fridge? Do you have an electric burner? Do you have an electric car? Where do you have lights? That's convenient. Charger, cell phone, TV, that's convenient. You might say, oh, the power's out, let's get the Bluetooth speaker and listen to something. Pandora. Well, how long is that going to last for your device? What do you use to charge it? Do you want to go out in your car and sit and make phone calls? And run your car and charge your car battery to charge something else, do you have like an appliance, like a small appliance that could plug in to your car? I found that an appliance, aka a printer for me, blew out the fuse in the vehicle. And that was I told my partner that I needed to get like a Duracell battery pack, like one of those tall ones. And he goes, you don't need that, you just need to use what you already have available. And then he didn't say anything. And I'm like, I'm trying to do mobile printing. I'm driving to the next county and back. There's a lot of jobs out there that it's impossible for me to take if I'm getting off work at 6 to come back and drive an hour and a half back and forth again to get to the place or more, when I could have the mobile set up and go straight from one job, change my shirt and go to the next job, be done in an hour, come home. Instead, come home by 7 or 8 instead of 11 at night. So he failed to tell me, and I knew that I watch all these videos on off-grid, I do off-grid living, but also on maintaining RV stuff and car camping and stuff, and what the people are using, the inverters and the different levels of solar chargers that will only work. Like the one I have, the Jackery low one only does USB, so it has a plug, but chargers. I didn't try to, I probably tried to run this light, or the other ring light. I'm trying to think if I try to do anything else. I do have a small fan that would probably, it's a USB powered fan. I have this one under the computer, and I have that one. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think something that's not a printer, or like a juicer, because you ever notice like your appliances, they'll go on and then they'll and like the lights will start dimming. Oh, I guess we have bad electricity. I don't think that should be happening. Every time my printer goes off, the lights like go out anywhere in an apartment, and that creeps me the heck out. So the point is, you might be able to run a small fan, but would you be able to run a small heater off of something? And look up the specs and try stuff out. The small fan seems stupid because we actually sat through about 2 months of sweltering heat in the apartment. I didn't get anything done. Maybe I detoxed. Maybe my skin's glowing because I was too hot. But there's something about being hot outside and having sun and wind and shade. There's something about being hot when the sun's pounding on a dark roof, when there's no insulation anywhere in your apartment. There's no insulation in the walls. There might be some in one of the walls because you could see it, but the rest, we go inside the side of there's doors in the side of the walls, and you can walk in there, and then you see brick. This wall is like particle board, like the people had in the 70s. They covered their walls with this fake wood trim. That's what the wall's made out of. There's no drywall. There's gotta be, maybe not. I assume there's 2x4s, but I have a stud finder. I ought to use it today when my partner comes home. So my plan today was to do cleaning and listen to something. I can't remember what. On a meeting from 6 to 7, and then from 7 to 8, clean and listen to music. 8 to 9, 9 to 10. I gotta leave, so I gotta get to the shower at like 10. I want to clean up as much of the house and wrap my kids' presents before I get out in the shower and wash my hair. My partner's probably gonna be home at like 7 something. I can imagine them coming home at 7. So it'd be fun to do some dancing. This is what I like to do when I'm alone. Turn the music up and just go back and forth. My leg is messed up conserving trips. But what I like to do, if the clothes need to be put away, if you need to grab stuff, change beds, make food, make a smoothie, do this, have the TV on, pause the TV, blah, 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 blah. When other people are around, I hate it. Like, that's so weird. I hate sitting in one spot, trying not to wake somebody up, or trying not to disturb them with my noise, or trying to distract them with my TV show that I have on the background. So they get interested. There goes all hope of pausing it every 3 minutes. Your attention is not wanting to naturally sit there for an hour and a half and watch this TV show. If you do physical, like typing and doing certain work, that's one thing. But I want to be able to get up when that laundry needs to be drained and rinsed. And I want to be able to put the water on, put a 2-minute timer, come watch TV for 2 minutes, come back, just pause it and put it on. It's hard to watch TV with somebody like that unless they're playing a video game or something, and that's background noise. So when you run your household and you've never been alone, but then, like, you never lived alone, but then you're alone once in a while. I moved into the dormitory at Michigan State University summer of, 04. Why do I feel like I went home the first summer? I don't know if I went home the first summer. My parents were really mean, and I found a way to stay at school, and they had a dorm. I only ate one meal a day there. I don't remember eating breakfast anywhere. I had a international dorm, and they had a really super gourmet food, and they had housekeeping. Okay, they didn't have this in the American people dorm. The international dorm, there was at least once or twice a week, they come in and clean your dorm room, literally. Not the hallway and the stairs outside. They come in your room and clean your bathroom and wash stuff down and vacuum. So I moved into this dorm not knowing any of this stuff, and I basically stayed out while their housekeeping came. And it sounded like an African American woman called me. I was 17, or I just turned 18, I think. So it was going on in my second year of college, like in between the first and second year. Was that year, or was that? How did I feel? Anyways, it doesn't matter. It was either first or second year, because I went on that sailing trip, too. I feel like that was first year. Might all be the same blur. I took a class, the Zimbabwe language class. It was a humanitarians class. I ended up having the landline rings on the connected to the wall, one of those kind of phones. It's in my industrial type phones. And I answered the phone, and it sounded like African American. Oh, hi, I'm such and such. This is my room. You're sharing my room. I'm not going to be there for the summer. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, yeah, nice talking to you. Blah, blah, blah. I probably talked to her a few times. Which is kind of weird, right? So everyone has small amounts of stuff compared to me. So there's probably 2 beds in there. So she probably had her bed and her belongings and stuff probably in like one box, in one bag, in one dress or whatever. I'm always bringing like the world with me when I go somewhere, and I don't like that about myself. It's embarrassing. I like it when you're hungry or thirsty or need a tissue or need a Band-Aid or bug spray or sunscreen or change of clothes or change of socks, female products, EpiPen, medicine, this and that. I'm about to go back to sleep, but by the way, let's see, it might not be good to try to drink some bright red tea. It was a really lonely year, but so that was the only time I lived by myself, is the point. But they have a dormitory. I used to sit downstairs and eat, and I'd eat alone, and I was a smoker, and I'd sit outside and smoke, and some foreign men would, it's probably the same guy, would come and smoke, or I should say international student, that sounds nicer. And it was so boring and lonely that and it was super hot. There was no air conditioning, I don't think. If there was, I didn't know how to use it because we didn't have air conditioning the whole time growing up. And I'd walk up to the 7-Eleven every day and get a Slurpee when it was hot and sit out and drink the Slurpee and smoke. It was such a lonely existence. I had no friends. I had met no friends there, so every time I went to the dormitory, I would eat. There was anyone from Michigan State, and I can't do this unless it's raw. There was a raw or a cooked flaky, what is that, dough, phyllo dough maybe? There was a flaky crust, buttery crust, crispy on the outside and moist on the inside. And it was a seafood, like it had little shrimp and seafood, like, I don't want to call it cake. So it was like they made it in a casserole, the phyllo dough, and they get like a square of it, like baklava, but it was savory and it was seafood. Oh my god. And whatever the juices were that got into the phyllo dough, just that perfect texture. You know, phyllo is a little bit squeaky because it's a thin layers like that. Oh my gosh, a food relapse, just like. Okay, so we're gonna go back to preparedness minded. If anyone has a recipe for that, I will make it for my loved ones and I will watch them. That would be something, like, make that as a raw food meal. Okay, head to toe. So you have body, mind, spirit, mental, emotional can be part of mind. You have the spiritual, and you have, I'm trying to think, body, mind, spirit. I'm missing something. Spiritual, I said that. So body, mind, and soul, right? And you have your surroundings, you have a relationship. Some people have a third eye. Some people have a heart space. Some people have a solar plexus. Connection to the world around them. And that's plants, minerals, other humans, other creatures. And then you also have the microbiology, microbes, microorganisms. I guess prions are microorganisms. So you have bacteria, virus, prions, and fungi. And you have the elemental. It's not just like rock and earth, but you have the elemental. You have elements, you have oxygen, nitrogen, you have gold, you have silicon, you have lithium, you have the world, and beyond our world, and beyond that, and who knows? And you have deep within the depths. Hey, I have no money, and I gotta bust my butt to get some. I have bought some mineral water, some magnesium water, sorry. That's made of inland seawater from somewhere in this country. And it's similar to the place I get my Redmond sea salt from, which I'm not eating right now. I think I threw a little bit of salt in my fake cheese the other day, but that was my holiday treat. I can charge this. Speaking of power outages in North Carolina, somebody shot up substation transformers. I read one of the articles. It took all till today to get an article on Yahoo, and somebody said they had worked for places many years, and it was usually less than 24 hours they could trade out the transfer. So they're wondering why it's taken from Saturday till Thursday for these people to sit in the dark and the cold. And everyone kept saying drag race and drag show, and I automatically thought of drag racing cars, and that it was saying that these Christians protesting, and then they're trying to say that didn't have anything to do with this. I've gone to drag shows in the 90s. I used to party with my friends in a bar in Detroit, inner city Detroit, Michigan. There was guards everywhere in that parking lot, I'll tell you what. If I could go to a nightclub now, I don't want to deal with the alcohol and the drug scene, but if I could go in there somewhere and somebody got a bunch of people that are diverse and a whole bunch of cars with guards everywhere, from the parking lot all the way to the door and beyond, and you could just dance. I did get sexually assaulted. The last place I thought I would get sexually assaulted would be at a gay bar. I'm telling you, that's a different story. So be prepared. The preppers were saying, they're already saying getting generators again. Now everyone's got power packs. People were doing regular batteries. What is that full cycle battery? Or the one that doesn't just wear down. And I'll get back to you on that. We have one in the storage unit. We have some solar panels and an inverter. My partner was supposed to put together. This we got in the summer. He didn't even open the solar panels. I hope they're not cracked, just smithereens. I bought the Jackery solar panel with the Jackery, that's second to smallest, I believe. Maybe the smallest little power pack. I bought some other crappy solar panel that came from Amazon, no name. It does not work. In fact, maybe I'll make it my date. You know what? I think I'm going to take it with me when we travel and see if I can get it to work. I need to sit. I have it by the kitchen door. I wanted to sit it out the actual door, not through the window, and see if I can get it so it will charge in the window with all my other devices, but it will like flash. So if you actually try to plug in this USB light, what is LED light, it'll come on. So this cord turns blue when it's got a power source. So it'll have a power source. Then you turn the light on, it goes off. So maybe I can see if I can charge a battery or something, because I have a radio that has the solar powered and crank powered, and you can plug in the radio to charge the batteries inside, and the batteries are removable. So you could, in the summer and every time it's sunny, you could charge all the batteries, and then you would carry that run radio for radio, flashlight, and charger. So you could get through a night and some rainy days if you have all your batteries charged. And they are lithium batteries that we thought were going to fit in a vape. But they were like a couple millimeters too big or too small, something funky. That was very close to size. I don't even know how you calculate that kind of stuff. It's weird. You have an AA battery and a triple A and a D, and it's an obvious size difference. So why did they make something that's one's like this and one's like this? And they have the same like milliohms or whatever on the side. So you need to check your stuff before you need it. Do you have a sleeping bag? Do you ever get mad like me and don't have a couch and you go lay down in the other room in a sleeping bag? I used to do that, not mad, but sleep out in the house in the kitchen downstairs with the crock pot on, because I didn't trust that crock pot while I'm upstairs. If a fire were to break out and I'm upstairs, I'm not going to know about it until it broke out. If something starts crackling and smoking, then God help me that the smoke alarm goes off. But depending on the situation, the closer you are, and I'm setting that 1 and 2 hour timer to get up and get to look at it. And during the day on the stove, it was like a 20-minute timer. Get up and stir it all day for like 6 hours. That was just pasta sauce, right? My ex-mother-in-law's pasta sauce. I shouldn't say ex, because she died before I got divorced, so I'm just going to say mother-in-law. I have irritation with healthcare providers. I have irritation with the price of dental care. I have irritation with racism. There was hundreds of people out at the parade, and I said I didn't see any people of color. And I did see behind us that there was some people that appeared to be Latino. And I saw 3 people that were African American on the street, but I didn't see any others. And I see several hundred people. And my partner's like, you're saying that you're the only person of color and you don't feel comfortable, you don't feel like you belong, and this and stuff. He's like, didn't you notice the people beside you? I was like, before when I said something, I said it's not a representation of the population in the county and in the country. Was it 30% African American in this country? And I always say like 37% Latino, and you look it up, it depends where you are, and was it 17% Asian American and like 1% Native American. Unfortunately, like, there should be representative, because every 100 people there should be at least one Native American, there should be 30 African Americans, there should be 37 Latino, 14 or 17 Asians, Asian Americans, and then the rest whites, which would be a smaller. And when white people look at the census stats, which aren't accurate, because I didn't get counted for like the first 40 years of my life, unless my parents counted me at 1. My parents would have been able to count me at 1, since I left home when I was 17. And maybe they counted me at the 21, the number 20, year 20. Excuse me, but it was 2000. I lived on my own, and I was not living at my parents' house. I owned my own house, and I did not get counted in the census, so that's, the demographics are off greatly. But there's the ones that answer, you can use data from them. You're representing less than 50% white. The more white people than I know complain about immigrants. If you say you had, I don't know what the number, say you have 50 million people in the U.S. and 49% were white, then European. There's Caucasian Latinos, there's the Caucasian Middle Eastern people, there's different things of category, but say white, European, they were completely white, but then 100% of you came as immigrants. So what's your problem? If you didn't immigrate here, then it would be Native Americans and indigenous people like that were here before you destroyed their land, destroyed them, brought in black slaves, and then complain about immigrants. But you only complain about the immigrants with dark hair and dark skin, whether they're illegal or not. Like, what's your problem? There's people here doing jobs that your people wouldn't do, and that's what makes your life cushy and comfortable. That's what makes your yard work get done, and your fast food. Like, even if we're mixed and our kids are mixed, and this one is half white and fourth Native American, fourth black, and this and that. Like, who do you think you are, man? Like, why do the rules that you make up don't apply to you? And you're in churches preaching how they don't. The pastor of our old church was German, and she complained about immigrants all the time. But she was complaining about Latinos. I'm like, what's your problem? She's like, they're taking away the resources from me and my European family. The European, you're not even an American. Latinos were freely crossing the border. That wasn't a border, because they were able to visit people thousands of years ago. People were nomadic. You're the ones that came in and put borders up, and you messed up. Like, hey, my uncle, my brother, and my cousin live on one side of the river, and we live on the other, and why did you put this border up? When we've spent thousands of years visiting great-grandma and this, and going south when it's cold, and doing this, and having religious festivals, and eclipse festivals. Come on, people. Do you not think? Going back to preparedness minded, when you have a disaster, something could be because people didn't like this drag show. People could be because they don't like interracial couples. There's a lot of underlying hatred. It's an event of a catastrophe. If it's a day, if it's personal, if it's a month, if it's a year, if it's 3 hours, the power outage, or someone's trying to sleep with a CPAP or some kind of medication they have to keep at a certain temperature and it's abnormally hot or abnormally cold that day. Do you even, if it happened in the middle of the night and you have babies and different things, and you got, like, there's things you don't even think about. Electric wheelchairs, people charging their scooters, and what are those oxygen concentrators? What do you do? Guys, tell me this. When you maybe don't have a flashlight. I got flashlights and I don't have them. I have one crappy Harbor Freight one in the kitchen. That's everyone's got a flashlight on their phone, but would you want to use up your full phone not knowing when the power is supposed to be restored? Sometimes there's a purposeful. Your energy may be out, and 2 weeks from now they send a letter to everyone's house for a minimum of 1 hour up to 6 hours that day, or your water is going to be turned off. I filled up water in my kid's house, every container that I could. I put it all over the kitchen, and my kids laugh. So what are you doing? I'm saving water. They're turning it off. Who knows? They say it's going to be back on in a day, but what if it's not? I swear to this day, like years later, there's still containers with water sitting around that nobody, like, what is this for? Like, I don't know, but it's your emergency water storage. Like, and what I ought to do is put the water on the plants outside and wash a container or recycle a retainer and clean the house. So that way, if there's a situation, you have only what you need. It's very organized. If there's an emergency, or there's a bridge about to be taken out, or someplace you could go to shelter, first come, first serve. They said there was 250 people sheltered. But I thought they said there was tens of thousands of people with power outage. So you have a shelter for 250 people set up, but there's tens of thousands that could need help. I don't get it. You gotta start somewhere. But I would think, what about the people that were living on the streets? Shouldn't those shelters have already been set up for them on an ongoing basis until they can get in a program and you can get them a home so they can, I mean, how much does it really cost? If you had a big house on the outskirts of town that you have completely paid off, and say your taxes is $2,000 a year to maintain, you got electricity, you got staff, and you got liability and all this insurance and maintenance, and vehicle or yard maintenance. You have a house that's got 20 rooms in it, like a big mansion, but it's sustainably affordable. How much would it really cost? Let's say it's just $5,000 a year. Divided by 12, so $417 a month. Oh, and you got 20 rooms. I could do the math with the 10, but I don't want to do it with the 20. Okay, I'll say divided by 20 rooms. So $21 a month per room would pay all the bills and maintenance and taxes. So if you had a 20-bedroom house, let's say you even had, we talk about carriage house, say you even had a carriage house on the property for staff, and you had a social service program, give a voucher, a housing voucher for $21 a month to 20 homeless people to live in that house, then that person just broke even. So that house is just, it's not their house. They don't live there. They just keep the house and the family. If you bumped it up, like with social service family, people gave millions and billions of dollars for homeless, but they can't afford $21 a month. What if you need to pay full-time staff and you need to buy meals and stuff? Add a zero to everybody's thing, $200 a month. to live in a house, in a room, a shared bathroom, a shower, a place to put your stuff, wash your clothes, be out of the elements. After you come back and gain some dignity back, you're employable. And you employ it, and you give your voucher to someone else, and you pay your $200 a month until you get your transportation, get your new work clothes, and get your new job. And then you're self-sufficient, and you might still live there. You're paying that 10 times the amount that the owners got to use. That's just an example. You can do shared housing where you don't need to charge what they're charging. $1,200 a month for a one-room studio apartment. Sometimes shared kitchen. Sometimes shared bath. So you gotta go in, be organized. Even if you're organized, having a go bag. Oh, first come, first serve. Shelter is 40 minutes away. Let's get in the car and go. Maybe you don't want to go to the shelter. Maybe you don't want to be like the Superdome and get stuck somewhere. Be away from home where leaders could get in. But maybe you really need a place that has electricity because you need that CPAP or you need to do that. Maybe you got like a portable fridge, like cooler, USB cooler that you take in the car. Grandma needs her medications kept cool. So you could take that with a charger thing and plug it in. I don't know how well you can plug something in. I'm thinking a shelter that's like a big gym. Like I'm not sure that you have power strips and electrical cords all over the place. But I feel like someone could potentially take turns sitting out in the hallway next to a plug. I've done that with my kids. My kids are in Web Academy and they didn't have a place for parents. They had a bench, 2 benches, and I often sat on the floor with the charger. There's like an outlet. There's parents that sit on the floor. There's no other place. There's no like little conference room or something for the parents to sit. And what's weird, there was like a medical facility right there. So their patients, we never saw their patients though. Patients would have had to come past us all grouped up. Like I ain't going nowhere. We had to park in 24-hour fitness parking structures, dark, and there's nowhere to go hang out. There's no coffee shop to walk to. And the parking lot is overcrowded, so you don't want to lose your parking spot. So when you pick up your kid from their standardized test or whatever, 1 or 2 hours later, you just sit there and read a book. And I kind of miss those days. Always a pink cloud, guys. Even the days that I was having to flee and get into a vehicle and go. Or actually, we had to flee on our feet. The vehicle got water came and took our camp away. Flash flooding. Climate change incident. So what do you do to be prepared for everything? But the reason I bring up that safety, what if a bunch of hate groups, including people from my old church, say, hey, we agree we don't like interracial marriage, and we become targets, me and my partner, or my kids, other people's kids are mixed race. If someone is mixed, my partner's kids are, and you can't tell. They look white. But mine, what do you do? What if you do have to go to work, go to school, go get gas, go visit your clients, take a chance, drive around, walk around, go into the post office? You got people with big trucks having flags in the back with yelling out the window. I've seen people with, in Portland I was at the light, less than a block from the home, like a block. It's a curvy block. And somebody had a truck with like a gun rack in the back of their head, and I saw them with a gun going like this while they were at a red light, like a shotgun. Might have been a rifle, but I thought it was a shotgun. Is anyone else seeing this? Everyone on their phone, like playing and not paying attention. I'm like, oh my god. Like, what do I do? You're in traffic. People say be careful how far you are. You have to activate some sensors and end up getting stuck at a red light. The car in front of you, and you pull up this close or even this close, and something happens where you start getting boxed in. Someone has an incident, robbery or burglary or murder. If you were to park like this, people say, then that gives you maneuverability, maybe ability to turn around instead of getting boxed in. Someone comes up behind you, maybe bumps into you. You're like, oh, what the heck? You start to get out of the car and you notice someone parks in here and they're holding guns and they're trying to mess you up. Did you hear these stories? People were getting robbed. They're targeting people, following people from grocery stores and stuff. A lot of us want an off-grid remote cabin. Lucky Leave Everything in Wonder had their new video out yesterday, and they filmed some of the memories of the distant past and the recent past of the injury, and saying they still like being remote. And then in half an hour it took the ambulance to get to their house under the emergency condition, and that they said now they know the signs, they're on meds. If something were to happen, they know to drive to the hospital. So they'll probably take half an hour or maybe less. So they won't need to wait until we get there. I think they're a little bit afraid because they had the baby. If something happened to the baby, that would. I mean, they obviously knew where the hospital, but they called 911 because they needed support immediately, like CPR, first aid, or whatever. I don't know. They needed somebody to talk them through, and they needed someone with medical equipment. So if you're in the inner city and you call the police for something, you're robbed, your car is stolen, someone's injured, and the fire department, the police department, the ambulance drivers park right down the street, they might never. We've had it and they never come. We've had people go to hospitals, even wealthy communities go to hospitals, go in ambulances, go to hospitals, and not be seen. And take an ambulance to the hospital, emergency room, and not be seen. Going home. People I have in my healthcare community, my clinic community, have gone to the hospital with appendicitis and been turned away 1 or 2 times, driving themselves or having someone drive them on the freeways, all that crowded traffic, and they have emergency appendectomy. Turned away. Is it because you're a person of color or immigrant? They said some people of color or Caucasian can qualify as Caucasian, but I had people that have been in heart attacks driving around to hospitals get turned away, and they're driving themselves. So we don't want to do it, but I mean, we don't want to feel like something's going to happen. I feel like I take first aid CPR, maybe someone on the street's going to choke and I can help them, or maybe I happen to be at an event, or I'm working with childcare and some kid has eat someone else's food, has allergic reaction. Let's go carry every pin, CPR, this and this, go call 911, but while we're waiting, we're going to be good citizens and take care of our own, right? Just hope you don't need to use it. So CPR, first aid, neonatal resuscitation program. So you think of these kind of skills, knowing the edible plants and not dangerous plants, especially, knowing how to build a shelter. You need to make a fire. Do you carry a bunch of matches and lighters around in your vehicle? If you have a lighter in your car, someone needs a lighter, and you carry that lighter in your car for years, and then someone needs a lighter, and you go and like, there's an awful bright light coming. You go and oh shoot, I missed it. You go and get it out. So you can light some incense and you forget to put it back in. So do you have a lighter there that accidentally got pushed in where the gas leaked out? No, you didn't have a backup, Jared. So they're saying 1 is none and 2 is 1. 3 is 2. You have 3. Maybe you have some little kitchen lighter matches. Maybe you have a lighter. And what will be your third one? A second lighter, maybe? Some matches in a waterproof case. Fire starter. Yeah, something to start a fire, like lint, dry lint, candles, candle wax. Ooh, it is cold as ice right now. I'm not even exaggerating. It's gotta be 30 degrees. It's cold. 26 degrees. As of 4, that was an hour ago. Oh, it's still 26. Let's do a scenario while we exercise. This is just me fidgeting. I'm really tired. I should have slept in. Okay, let's say we're in North Carolina and we're working. Let's say I'm working and I live with my partner and my kids are away at college. Or I got one pet somewhere in the mix, and let's say I said I was doing preparedness minded, but I wanted to get some training online. This class costs $2,000. I spend pretty much all my savings, and I'm working a job at some craft store, say minimum wage or whatever, and it's paycheck to paycheck. And I've been preparedness minded, and I had got a bunch of food and MREs and a little bit of freeze dried food and some nuts that have been sitting in and out of freezers for years. Uh, let's say I threw a little bit of the expired MREs out, which I really don't. It's stupid because I didn't think anyone would eat it. You can always barter that stuff too. You could always eat it if you have to eat it. If I had to eat bananas with sugar on them, I would have to eat it, right? If that's all I had. But I'm kicking myself. I can't go to the dump and pull that stuff out. I probably could, but that was 7 years ago or something. I threw that out 5 years ago more. Anyways, different story. And let's say I have let's just have a drawer with some couple boxes of raisins, a bag of nuts, um, little bags of nuts from Dollar Tree or something. I'm waiting to get my paycheck, and it's like the heating bill, everything is really high. I'm waiting to get a paycheck so I can go to Dollar Tree or some store and just get a little bit of food. Just get a little bit of food that I can eat and a little bit of like some Spam or something that my loved ones can eat. And some nuts that are cooked and roasted. Crackers. Something fruity for everybody. Let's say that I'm planning on going on Friday. Uh, let's say it's a week before, so I got a whole week. Let's say it's Friday or Saturday, so a couple days ago. Let's say I got real tired, started feeling sick, was driving around, didn't want to use gas, but let's say I was cleaning up my car and I found a coat, and I found a $10 bill. $10, that's nothing. Yeah, you need to put that in the bank to pay your bills. This could be cold winter, your heat bills could be $300-400. So I was telling you, well, maybe I'll go to the store. The store right here is having a sale on freeze-dried bananas and nuts and fruit. I can get a little bit for $10. Your gut's telling you, man, you're getting paid soon. You're only going to have like $30-40 to spend on food. But should you wait? Maybe add that $10. Maybe stash that $10 so you have cash for when you end your job or you get laid off and you have your finishing your credentials and something, and you already have a business set up, but you're adding something that's going to make it even more powerful. It's not going to be cookie cutter. It's going to be something that's different that people are searching for. Right? It's a different story. So what do you do? It's like choose your own adventure. It's not, that's someone else's copyright, right? Just want to use that. Choose your path. You go to the store, your gut's telling you to go to the store. You go to the store, you grab a little bit of stuff. You get some novelty, you get some funny candy, you get some jerky for your loved ones, and you like use your credit card. You end up using your credit card and buying something for your kids that are at college, and then you end up spending $20 on shipping. So you're like, I just spent all the money that I was going to get in my credit card. And then you come home and you're wanting to watch a TV show, and you got food in the dehydrator, food in the oven, lights go out. What the heck is going on? Oh my God. People get on Facebook, we're out here too, it's out here too, blah, blah. You know, there's calls, phone, school's gonna be closed, church's gonna be closed on Sunday, school's gonna be closed on Monday. Power company sends you an alert, you're not getting your power back until Thursday at the earliest. What the heck do? You watch the batteries start going down on your phone. You sent your kids their snacks for their college. Not very much. Just a kind of novelty, joke around, maybe some holiday candy. You got your freeze-dried food. You used your credit card about three times more than you wanted to. Plus the price of Dollar Tree went up 25% or whatever it is. Say you had thought you threw some of the old food away, and you found it in a Mylar bag that said past Best By date, or you found something in the freezer, and you weren't digging around the freezer because you had the dates for Thursday. You're not trying to open up and let all the heat in, the cold out. What do? So I was going to take this scenario to you didn't go to the store and you didn't have anything, and what did you already have? If you're living paycheck to paycheck, did you have any bananas, any grapes? For raw food, did you have any raw crackers, nuts? That's kind of boring diet. All the spices that I put on my food. Did you have your medication? Oh, I didn't realize right now. I just looked at my credit card bill. It's almost $3,000. I don't make that much. How am I going to pay that off? In real life, I was buying the natural medicines and the things. Also, my doctor's office has been calling me for me as a patient to go get the vitamin D with the magnesium, or the calcium, sorry. And actually, I think what did I just buy? Maybe I bought D with magnesium. Anyway, so I got some minerals and supplements, and if I just went to Walmart and got the cheap brand and something, I would be better. But I can't deal with the fillers. I have allergies. So since it's such a long video, and I'm gonna try to lay down, I'm all amped up. You have the head, you have that gut instinct. So talking about the invisible stuff, the mental, emotional, spiritual, to go and just stop by that store, you're already close by. You're not gonna be using extra gas. You have gas in the car. That's another one. Well, I don't get paid and my paycheck's already been spent. I just went to the Dollar Tree or whatever grocery store next to that. We have Giant next to that. We want to go to the cheap gas place. Fine, put it on a credit card. You have gas in the car, you could drive to a different place. Um, Even if you drove somewhere and went to a coffee shop because you had an important. I work in healthcare. I had needed everything to be on for telehealth visit for my patients. And it's something. What do you do? How did you prepare? So you had to do what do I do now? Crap, something happened. Everything's at a standstill. What resources do you have available? What resources is any kind of entity, city, state, government going to help you with? Maybe nothing. Maybe first come, first serve. They're helping this many people. This many people are affected. Do you have warm clothes or cool clothes, depending on the weather that day? Which can fluctuate. I have a picture of me voting wearing a tank top. And then the next week, I'm wearing a parka and a big winter hat outside. I don't even know if I had finally pulled out my wool. I had made a wool scarf that I made myself. I'll show you this blanket. Just the corner of it. I made this blanket myself. I don't know if people would be knocking on the door trying to buy a blanket from me that I made. I personally think it's funky. It's not any pattern. I just make stuff up. I see other people with their blankets and they're perfect. The squares, mine always pinch out on the edges. So, I have a very, very long scarf I wore last night. Do you have warm socks? I told you guys I have cheap socks that I don't like that rub the skin off my feet. They are a pain in my butt. They probably don't fit well with my boots. I have really wide feet now. And the heel is still narrow, but the rest of my foot is lying flat from walking barefoot all the time. Can you dress in layers? Do you have the hat, coat, scarf, gloves? My partner keeps misplacing one glove. That's a pain. His hands are too big to just run to Walmart and get yourself gloves. He did do that, but they were really snug. And I said, I went shopping for you all last winter. And I looked for gloves, and for the men's, they did not have. They looked like they had a spot for the extra large, but those went fast. So this time, right before the freeze, we wasted the last of his money. And I was actually supposed to buy long johns. Idiot. I did not buy the long johns. I'm so kicking myself. He told me that I didn't want these polyester or nylon. Now it's freezing cold, and I realize I only have one pair of long johns. I'm like, really, Mia? Like, you had your chance. In fact, I might make myself go to Walmart. I'm not going to really have time. I wanted to get something from my business, but I'm just going to use the resources at hand. I wanted to get a nice folder with a pocket and put my business card and all that stuff. So I'll put together a packet for my client today that I'm having. I'll give him something for the doula and the naturopath. They haven't hired me. There's no payment option for me unless I ask them for cash. And so that's where we are right now. I hope my package comes before we go out. I have in the house, we have a book for the Oregon, I think, Pacific Northwest plant. It's black and white plant guide. I don't know if it's edible plant or edible wild plants. So having something on paper, even if you have to make it yourself. I have some herb classes I took where I took some colored pens or pencils and I colored the herbs, the medicinal and edible herbs, in a notebook when I was taking notes. And it was hard because we were outside walking, but I made sure to bring those pens or whatever I did and at least color the leaf, the fruit, the stem, what was like a bush or a tree or, mossy or whatever. You could get some kind of resource that you don't need to use your electronic device. There's plenty of books that tell you about herbs, and I have one here. Where did I put it? It's dark in here. I thought I had one here. It's the Bauer. What's his name? Steve Bauer. I don't even know where that book is. I'll have to bring it out. It's with the herbal antibiotic or an antiviral, and he has the Lyme disease and another Lyme disease. Um, Lyme disease. Oh, and Lyme co-infections. So I got like he has the one that's indigenous Native American spirit something plant medicine. That one I need to finish actually reading that one. I cleaned up and put stuff away, so I have no idea where that is. But I've already started it, and the intro was really long, so I barely even started the actual book part. Do you have something like that? But you can go to Wikipedia and put together a Word document where you put the plant pictures that for the common use, and put the name and what it's for, and print it up. And even if you had to print it in black and white, or if you had that on your computer and you saved it locally, you could access it briefly. whether you had to make a decision about how often, like, are you like me, your computer's not plugged in and it just dies for some reason. It doesn't just sleep and conserve energy, it just burns up the whole battery. So think about your electronics. It might not be a big deal, but people were trying to leave everything in wonder, was trying to book a flight out of South America during COVID. These emergency flights, first come, first serve, and they would only have like one every 2 weeks. They could not get the flight booked. They could see everything and try to buy it on their phone. It didn't work, so they had to communicate with someone in their country to order it on a PC. So if you ever had a situation like that, or sometimes you can't see the web page and access the continue button on the phone, and it's like you could try to change the landscape and all this stuff. So think about the usage of the electronics that you have. Do an inventory and check your supplies. I have in the past you saw me with lights like this, solar power. This is for someone's home. We don't own a home. We're not able to put in triple pane windows and get all the cracks sealed and have someone put insulation everywhere, so we don't own it. We could do it, but we don't have the rent so high. So I have this solar powered, you'll see it's got the, so do you see the solar panel here? So this one, thank God, has been working. This was designed for like your outdoors. I have some other lights and they don't seem to charge. Like that radio, it doesn't seem to charge very well in the window, but I feel like those ones have only the 2 LED and they seem to, I mean, who knows, that could just be leftover from summer. The preppers of Full Spectrum Survival were saying to get the old, the stake solar lights like that you put on your walkway in your yard, and that they have 2 rechargeable AA batteries inside of them. I have one, I always buy these, I had some in the yard in Portland, but I have one in the windowsill over here. Flickers on and off sometimes, but again, we don't have a yard. This stuff is indoors, and I haven't taken them apart to see if they truly do have the 2 rechargeable AA or AAA batteries, and if they do, it'd be nice if the batteries stop working to be able to replace that. Or they were saying, I guess you could use that as a battery charger, so you could swap batteries out, charge them, and use that for your flashlight or some device, that radio or something that takes AA, AAA. So check the stuff that you already have. Have the precautions. So whether it's 2 hours, 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years of crisis, pest control, warmth. What if you had to go outside and it's summer and you're somewhere 80 degrees and it's actually a little bit hot? If you had to go outside in a rainstorm, come back in, you have no fan, no dryer. I think these people have their wastewater, some kind of the water either coming in or going out is not working in North Carolina. Are you going to have a sewage drain issue and the sewage is going to come up in your bathroom and in your toilets and in your sinks? You're not going to be able to flush. Do you have a bucket with even a trash bag? Maybe some absorbent, kitty litter? You know, we share in a kitty litter box? No, but you can make your own and share the new litter. Do you have a bucket with a seat like I got from Walmart, and you sit and you put the liner thing that has the bag with the gel? If you have a yard, you can use chips, wood chips, or sawdust. If you have a yard, a garage, and all the fixings of a normal house, that is my dream to have one day. Even if your yard is tiny. I saw some yards 0.7 acres or something, like ridiculously small. You have a spot, you can have a chair, a solar panel, some containers with lids for firewood. You could have yourself a little campfire. You could dry stuff, and you have that 0.7 yard. You would be able to cook your food and heat your water outside, whereas I had no place like that. We had an emergency, we had to go out in the parking lot, and we start frying hot dogs. the neighbors would be like, oh, we need to fry hot dogs. We don't have any. Can we we're going to steal your food. We're going to eat. We're going to beg you. We're hungry. Our kids are hungry. Our dog is hungry. We didn't listen to our gut and go to the store, get stupid and have a $3,000 credit card bill when you only make $1,000 a month or whatever. But could you heat up some water and be discreet and bring that in and pour it in some instant oatmeal or some soup, a can of soup, mix it in? Are you going to get able to have your dishes clean so that you could pull out every couple days a bag of fruit, frozen fruit, or a pre-made meal that you had frozen, some turkey from Thanksgiving or what? Are you able to do that, guys? We didn't have, all our containers were dirty. We had a new box of containers. We waste money. But we're using it to try to keep up on our work, and we would be able to use it in an emergency fund. It'd be better if the containers are clean. If these containers are dirty, they got moldy. I need to write M on them to show that they had mold, so that I don't use them for the fanciest, most expensive food that's going to sit in the fridge, because the mold spores are already embedded in the plastic. In fact, those should all go into the recycling. Do I like myself for that? No. Do I like having to pay $3,000 or more a month for rent in order to live in the worst conditions that's not on the street? One step up from the street, that's not a shelter? No, I don't like paying that much. I like to pay and have a reasonable priced house that I own. I have yet, since 1999 or 1998, been able to find someone that will sell me their house. I have yet to have a banker, a real estate agent, or a private individual sell me a piece of their land. I hate it. Greedy. Some people have acres and acres. Just they have to pay people to maintain it. We would pay the lawyers and the surveyors to cut a chunk of land off, put ourselves the house that the city tells us that we could build. It doesn't have to be a trailer. We build ourselves a house, have everything completely inspected, done right. Boom, what I said. Windows, insulation, this and that, put the well in. I mean, if you had to do something where you put the well in, you put the septic in, and it costs a buttload of money, electricity, that money is nothing compared to what you're wasting in rent. Because you have improved your land, and now your assessed price and your sell price and your net worth of assets has gone up really high. Even if you did have to use a payment plan or get a USDA grant or something to have that. I would like to have a mixed-use property. So that is something you could strive for when you're hustling and working that low-paying job and trying to be self-employed and realizing how expensive that is, and just trying to go and buy $30 worth of groceries and you come out of the store with a half a bag of stuff. When you used to be able to spend $35 and come out with 3 bags of stuff. Maybe not full to the brim, but we bought about 1.5 bag and it was $100 the other day. So I got to help my partner to pay for, it was a bunch of nuts. Protein is expensive, period. So what do you have? What if you're not having it tidy? Do you know where stuff is? Where you could be in a mental state to say, socks, underwear, hygiene, toiletries, female products, medications. That's already my bag's getting full. Pants, long johns, PJs, t-shirts, tank tops, sweaters, hoodies, zippers, and outer clothes, and outer shoes with a change of shoes. You might not be able to find your favorite socks that may or may not be partly wool that you get tricked to buy at Kohl's, which used to be able to get wool and stuff. And for me, they all got holes in them fast. What do you do about any pets or plants that you have? Get them ready to be left or to be taken with you. Do you have carriers for your pets? You don't want to go to a shelter, say no pets, and then have to leave your animal in the car. But in Oregon, one of the wildfires, they had people on the news, tents all over the parking lot, so they had their pets and kids and everything there. comfort measures, books, crossword puzzles. You're going inside a shelter, or maybe you find in a McDonald's or somewhere with a plug. You could still bring some of these chargers and crank radios, stuff that you can charge not just with the sun. So make sure you bring as many cords and adapters and maybe a power strip. You might plug in and have, boom, 5 things charging at a local place, or maybe they let you do a daytime charging station somewhere. And that way, if you have to go somewhere at night, someone vandalizes or destroys something, domestic terrorizes something else, you might have to be on your way to a relative's house or be on your way to a campground. Again, first come, first served. Did you bring a tent, sleeping bags, some kind of pad, blankets? Even in summer for me, I'd be bringing all kinds of blankets and pillows. And the coat, and make sure you have some kind of rain quality coat, even if it's a poncho. I would bring boots personally, and shoes that you can easily get away, because there's those prepper movies. I'll end with this. There's those prepper movies where the bad guy, I guess I could have I had the light off me the whole time. The guys gang up and start picking out the guys that they think are weaker, and they start kidnapping and raping the women, or trying to barter for sex. We're only going to feed you if you give up these women. And there is that whole sick human nature, demonic earth spirit of you think, hey, we're going to band together. Like, in my mind, I want it to be like Kumbaya. We're going to band together with our neighbors. We're going to pool our resources. You have bananas. You have hot dogs. You have a charcoal grill and a bunch of charcoal. Okay, we're going to go to your house. I have a tea kettle I could put on the stove in a big pot that doesn't have plastic. You're going to pull your resources to. Someone's got a water filter, and someone else has a bunch of bags and stuff, a bunch of old buckets from their job that they can pass out and use as toilets to everybody. Someone else has a shovel to bury the crap. You would think you would band together. But when an emergency happens and you go to your neighbors, like, oh my God, do you have some, even a normal day, you have some milk for my baby's cereal? Oh, maybe not. You're going to pay me for it? Maybe. You're going to barter me for it? But it may be that everyone stays inside and there's tension and anger and people that you could find out are criminals, that they just want to break in and steal what you have or hurt you. Say, well, the police are busy dealing with other things. We're going to take advantage and we're going to assault you and rob you and do things to you that you don't like, that are sickening. You think that you would have band together, so that's preparedness-minded groups are saying, find that circle of group of people now. What's scary is if you say you have 200 cans of green beans and a manual can opener, or 2 or 3, and someone else says they got a bunch of pasta and canned meat. But what if they can it themselves? What if this group cans it themselves and you're afraid of botulism? What if this group says they have a bunch of stuff, but they're really the ones that are saying, I know what everyone in the group has, and I have weapons, and I'm going to and take your stuff and put it in my house and feed my own family. And there's people that will say, they're not talking about weapons. Maybe they'll say, you know what, I'm not going to prepare because you guys got everything. I'll just go to your house and take what you have and use what you have. And there's a lot of people there. They've got a year or 2 worth of food for themselves and their own pet, but they've got times 5 for, like, they have their stuff that would last a long time, but they purchase stuff to feed all their families and some of their neighbors. So they don't have 2 years worth of stuff. They got 6 months worth of stuff. But they're so generous and see the people not preparing. But when it comes down to it, who knows when the relatives come knocking? There could be an attitude. There could be a unsafe. They say, get out of my house. Here's 3 cans of corn. Get out of my house. There could be breach in the packaging and some stuff, or something could have gone in, or you could have found out that you bought 30 cans from the one store, you didn't notice there was a recall and this glass or something funky, like, you're, oh no, so you're not putting your eggs in the same basket. said I would end it. What if you had a personal or a local or any type of event and you had to travel? How far could you get with your vehicle if you have a vehicle? Do you have a bike? Are you on foot? How much have you walked in your neighborhood, outside your neighborhood? Do you know where there's a place with like a hand pump at a park or something where you could get clean water? Or like a like they have composting toilets, even porta potties. Is there a place that you know that you could hang around, but know that everyone else knows the spots there? So the good guys and the bad guys and the people that don't know better are going to go to these spots. So it's not like you're going to claim that, oh, such and such park has this and a grill, I want to just camp out there. Will they still be enforcing the law if you don't have a permit? Will their machine work if you have to pay for parking? You just get your car towed and ticketed, which would put you in a whole other issue. They take advantage sometimes when there's a disaster. Because maybe they want to discourage people from camping out there for a week and trashing the place. If we didn't trash the place, it would be a whole different kind of story. But they're not responsible if that's not set up as a shelter, right? There was a parade on this street and it ended on that street, and I thought it was vice versa. And we wanted to see the judging area of the parade, and we walked through the two buildings at night the other day, and my partner was behind me. I could see the light from the street, from the parking lot light. So this building you've seen my one video, and it gets more narrow, and the building's like meeting, and you end up like you're going through a mouse hole. And this broken glass. I'm scared of cockroaches and rats and mice, and people are peeing and God probably pooping in there literally. And we watched and we switched spots. So I was in the front, and as I got towards the end, I knew from past experiences that it was slippery, wet, and there was leaves, which makes it more slippery. And I walked through. I'm scared to walk through during the daytime, and I'm scared to walk through during dusk. I'm scared to walk through at night. There'll be giant cockroaches scurrying around this neighborhood. Oh, heck no. And I'm scared that I want to come in, and you're going to be stuck between, it's like a block long, or whatever, that you're walking, like half a block. You don't want to trip and fall on something slippery, and there's broken people smashing beer bottles all over. So he decides let's walk through there, and I was like, I'm not feeling it. And then it gets pitch black, and I want to touch the walls because I can't see, and I'm hobbling on my leg. And it starts getting that slippery from the leaves and the mud under it and the rain that just came. And it got dark, and I got scared, and I was almost to the end. I could see the people on the sidewalk watching the parade, but I couldn't see the ground. I couldn't see if there was cockroaches. It could have been scurrying up and down the walls. It could have been mice like that underneath the piles. And I got out, and I know my partner couldn't hear. I said that was quite a drill. And I was thinking of, I don't watch the Dimcat channel anymore, but I was watching his videos saying, go out on your walks. Go out with your sidearm. Go out at night and see, walk around, is there some water, a pond somewhere? Is there this here? Is it, like, know it like the back of your hand, which I don't even know the back of my hand. And I was thinking of the drills of being able to walk around at night and in the daytime and know how to get to places and know, like, you could be boxed in there if there was bad guys. Someone could see you. They could get on a walkie-talkie, say, hey, get on the other side, and they could block you. And you could be stuck in there, and you could be hurt. And people would be walking up and down the street not looking at a crack in the wall that doesn't look like a path. But we came out, and a few minutes later, we're getting ready to leave. And he goes, oh, yeah, you could see all the way in there. It's light. And I was like, what's weird, it wasn't light when we were walking in there. So if you go in the daytime a bunch of times, you'll have to use your muscle memory. But remember that slippery. Remember that there could be critters. You don't know if you never walk at night what critters could be there. It was kind of warm, but it wasn't summer warm. And the broken glass and stuff could be detrimental. Whether it gets in your shoe, I wear just tennis shoes. Whether it gets in you slip or something, and it pops up and kind of gets stuck in your shoe, and then it starts grinding. Like, you could have this infection and sore injury that hurts and makes it harder to travel. So think about your travel. When I first sprained my ankle, I was stuck in an apartment. I couldn't get down the stairs, and I had to go to the appointments. I just had to take my time. So where is it safe that you can take your time? What if you get injured and you don't have like a wheelchair or any kind of device, scooter, or anything? I'm too heavy for someone to carry. I got a chair on wheels. It's an office chair. I might have to use that to get scooted across the parking lot, which this plastic wheel would be ground down. But do you have crutches? Do you have a walking stick or cane? If you had to, do you have splints and bandages? If you hurt yourself and then civil unrest happened and you had to flee your apartment, you hurt yourself the day before and you're like, oh, I got to be out of work for a week and put my foot up. But then something happens. Would you be able to drive, get a ride, hide out somewhere? Like, maybe you have some strong people with a big van and they could carry you down the stairs and put you and strap you up in the back of the van and carry your suitcases. Like, think of that in advance. And you're not trying to say you're using them, but you're saying, hey, there's a resource that, in the case of an emergency, it could be worth it to give it a shot and call them and not be left on your own to perish. But it's hard to predict, but we could see what's going on in the world around us and how I always say our infrastructure is so fragile, and especially the sewer and the wastewater and the water treatment and not knowing what happens when they tell you don't flush the toilets for a week. I don't even know. I grew up on a well and we had a lake in the backyard, and a septic. We had dumped the water bucket we had the brown bucket every time, light brown, dump the water in the toilet to flush it. But I don't know what you do when your city water sewer is all backed up and that pipe outside has the whole neighborhood sludge. Everyone's not going to be sitting there like, I got a bucket with a toilet seat on it in my bathroom. Even if they have a bucket in a trash bag, they might not think that's okay, and that what's going to happen? What's it going to do to your home? And the fresh water, if it's dirty, and you have bottled water to drink, but what about you're used to bathing and brushing your teeth? And now, like E. coli, they said in Portland had many times, do not brush your teeth with this water. Boil the water first. Wash the dishes with the water, but rinse them in boiled water. Cryptosporidium, all this to vulnerable populations. If you have a lot of money and cash and everything, electricity's going out, want to run to Walmart. Well, they can't ring up the stuff because you don't have the machines on. Some stores might have a generator. I've been in a power outage where Safeway had a generator. There's an elevator in the store. I'm scared to go to elevators anywhere, but I would have been stuck in an elevator if I had gone in. And who knows if they could hear you when you bang on it. Cell phones usually don't work in them. Can you go to a convenience store that has the price on everything and hand somebody $4.75 for the water? No. Water, food, shelter, medicine, safety, protection. I don't know what I missed on the list. Transportation, and especially, like I said, the second Cody London book. You have your head on your shoulders, where you can de-escalate a situation where you're encountering people, even if it's people in your own house that are stressed out. They need money. They need to go to work. They can't have the place shut down. Some people go to McDonald's 3 times a day for their meals at Starbucks. Where are they going to eat? I mean, even if you had a couple bags of chips and some cereal, if you could eat that, you could be able to eat for a day. You might get a stomachache, but you're not going to be pantry empty, you know. And then the other thing, do you have some sort of cooler insulator? Even if I have some from a food delivery that I keep hoarding in some insulated bags. If you were to grab the frozen fruit out of the freezer and put it in with some cheese and some, mayonnaise. You don't want stuff to go bad. If you could put that stuff in a cooler bag within a cooler box or something, and that way you open the fridge once every 2 days or once every day, and then put that in the coldest spot on your home. And ours would be outdoors right now, but who knows what would get stolen or critters would take. So have some kind of simple thing, like even if it's like a lunchbox or something, so that you could put some milk in a jar and then have some ice packs. I have an ice pack right here, just to be icing my body. It's not cold anymore. And if it's cold outside, you could try to maybe, if it's safe, stick those outside. And even if they don't freeze through, you could still utilize that. Take advantage of that nighttime cold air to cool down your ice packs and bring them there. They say having like water bottles in the freezer. Our freezer is too small for that, and then the fridge can retain that cold air when the power goes out. So I've had like too many ice bags, bottles of water, but that water you could put some in. You don't drink out. Pour a little bit of bottled water, clean bottled water. Use a little bit in your coffee or in your tea cup. Put those in the freezer. Mark them. Say this is clean. Nobody drink out of it. You know how like germs, if you had COVID last month or something, you freeze in there or whatever. And you could have some tap water ones, and you don't fill them all the way. So you want a big thing because it expands. You don't want it breaking open and bringing it out, have the water leaking. So you could have some water in the fridge and in the freezer. And so in the event of something like that happens, it would maintain a little bit more cold. But again, opening and shutting the door is not good. We had power outages for a week, and Mom would say just drink the milk first, and she would pretty much refrain from opening and closing the fridge. We were eating potatoes and stuff like that. So me using a dehydrator, I'd have to be more creative, and as I go through those foods that I would instinctually had stashed and set aside. Peace, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and comment, share. Bye.